Good evening. Good evening. My name is Commissioner Brockington, and I am running the meeting tonight in place of our president who's not able to make it. And I want to thank everybody who's here in person and those that are on our Zoom. And the first thing I'd like to do is have our Commissioner, Dwight Pedro Lewis, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Now, Township Manager, please call the roll.
Yes, good evening. Commissioner Arman is not present. Commissioner Brockington,
Here.
Commissioner Cherico,
Here.
Commissioner Lewis,
Here.
Commissioner Norris,
Here.
Commissioner Rappaport,
Here.
and Commissioner Ziegman-Feld.
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you. Next in order would be for the Sunshine Act to be read by our solicitor.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Brockington. The board has met in executive session twice since December's public board meeting. The board met on Monday, January 6th, 2025. There were two items on the executive session that evening, one being to discuss a matter of litigation involving Boucher and James, and the second matter involving real estate regarding the potential acquisition of real estate. The board also met tonight, January 22nd, 2025, in executive session. We had one item on the agenda this evening, and that was to discuss the ongoing litigation with Ogon's Fire Company. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 4 for tonight is any public comment on agenda items only. Anyone here in the hall can step up if you want to do any public comment. And now I'll turn it over to the Zoom. If anyone on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please unmute yourself. But these will be on agenda items only. All right, not seeing any, we're going to move on to item 5, 6, and 7. And for those items, I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Slavin. Sure, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to introduce to our community 5 new members of our department this evening. 3 of our new hires are going to be joining our department tonight and being sworn in this evening. The other 2 candidates are currently enrolled in Montgomery County Police Academy and will be conducting their basic training. Upon successful completion of their training, they will be joining us probably in June of 2025, and we look forward to adding them to our ranks. Our first candidate to come up would be Richard Joe Canale. Could you please come up? Let me tell you a little bit about Officer Canale. Officer Canale originally joined us in June of 2024, began his academy training at the Montgomery County Police Academy. Officer Canale successfully completed his academy training in December of 2024 and is currently assigned in field training. Joe served the United States Army for 5 years, reached the rank of Staff Sergeant before being honorably discharged from the service. Officer Canale is a local resident, attended Cheltenham High School, and comes from he's highly recommended by his family and background representatives. Joe is the second member of his family to serve with the Cheltenham Township Police Department. As his grandfather, he retired from the Cheltenham Township Police Department as a police sergeant. Now that Joe's coming on, I worked with his grandfather. Maybe it's time for me to go, but I am very confident in Joe's ability. He'll be an excellent addition to this department, and please join me in welcoming Richard Joe Canale to our department.
Just good where we're standing, Chief?
Yes.
All right. Raise your right hand, sir. Thank you, Chief. Yes, sir. All right. I, Richard Joseph Canale,
I, Richard Joseph Canale,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support, obey, and defend
I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Home Rule Charter of Cheltenham Township.
and the Home Rule Charter of Cheltenham Township.
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
the law without consideration
the law without consideration
to a person's race, color, and sex,
to a person's race, color, sex,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
gender identity and gender expression,
gender identity and gender expression,
age, national origin,
age, national origin,
ancestry, handicap, or disability,
ancestry, handicap, or disability,
and that I will discharge the duties of officer of Township of Cheltenham with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of officer of the Township of Cheltenham with fidelity.
Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, our next candidate will be Drew Roskowski. Drew, could you come up? Officer Roskowski previously worked as a police officer with the Philadelphia Police Department after graduating from the academy in 2024. Prior to becoming a police officer, Drew served in the United States Army for 6 years and 3 years with the Army National Guard, Drew reached the rank of sergeant and was honorably discharged from service. Drew comes to the Cheltenham Police Department highly recommended by his former supervisors. He's the third generation of his immediate family to serve in law enforcement and has the overwhelming support of his family and friends in this endeavor. Drew is currently assigned to field training, and he's excited to join our department. I am confident that he will make an excellent addition to the police department. Please join me in welcoming Drew to our department.
Raise your right hand, Drew. I, Drew Roskowski,
I, Drew Rajkowski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support, obey, and defend
I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Home Rule Charter of Cheltenham Township.
and the Home Rule Charter of Cheltenham Township.
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
the law without consideration
the law without consideration
to a person's race, color, or sex,
to a person's race, color, or sex,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
gender identity and gender expression,
gender identity, and gender expression,
age, national origin,
age, national origin,
ancestry, handicap, or disability,
ancestry, handicap, or disability,
and that I will discharge the duties of officer of the Township of Cheltenham with fidelity.
and that will discharge the duties of officer of the Township of Cheltenham with fidelity.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, our next candidate, Kareem Alasway. Could you please come forward, Kareem? Also, Alasway previously served with the police as a police officer in both Philadelphia and Baltimore County Police Departments. His previous supervisor stated he always has a positive attitude, is a proactive worker, and has a knack for de-escalating difficult situations. Kareem has a local connection and is a graduate of Northeast High School. In addition, he's earned an associate's degree in applied sciences from Community College of Philadelphia. Kareem brings with him prior training and experience in both private security and police work to his new position. Kareem is the first law enforcement officer in his family, and he has the full support of family and friends. I am confident that Kareem will be an excellent addition to our police department, and please join me in welcoming Kareem to our department.
Raise your right hand, Kareem, please. I, Kareem El Alasay,
I, Kareem Alasway,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support, obey, and defend
I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Home Rule Charter of Cheltenham Township.
and the Home Rule Charter of Cheltenham Township.
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
the law without consideration
the law without consideration
to a person's race, color, or sex,
to a person's race, color, or sex,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
gender identity and gender expression,
gender identity and gender expression,
age, national origin,
age, national origin,
ancestry, handicap, or disability,
ancestry, handicap, or disability,
and that I will discharge the duties of officer of the Township of Cheltenham with fidelity.
and I will discharge the duties of officer of the Township of Cheltenham with fidelity.
Congratulations, sir.
Hey, Chief, before you start, I wanted to thank our local judge, Judge Emmett Madden, for swearing in our officers. Thank you very much, Your Honor. Thank you. We can do pictures, or you want to? Yes. No, because we have three, we have two more.
Yes, sir. Judge Madden, as always, has made himself available to us, and I'm very grateful to Judge Madden and Judge Sersky when the time arises for that. They're always right there to help us out with these. These are important events in your careers. I've spoken to all of you about. These are the important life moments, right? I know it's, I'm getting sworn in, no big deal. Some of you have been police officers elsewhere. This is a milestone in your life. You know, take advantage of it. This is your moment. Congratulations. You worked very hard to get here, and we're very happy to have you here. Well, I have the board here tonight. I want to introduce two other hires we have that are currently enrolled in the Montgomery County Police Academy. William Terzan and Kira Swanson, can you come forward, please? Mr. Terzan is currently attending Montgomery County Police Academy, is expected to graduate in June of 2025. Upon graduation, he will begin his field training with this department. Mr. Terzan served the United States Army for 8 years, training 8 years with, providing IT support for the U.S. Air Force, Space Force, as a military contractor in the private sector. He earned his master's degree in management of information systems. After several years working in the IT field, he has decided to transfer to public service as a police officer. Bill was originally from New York and has resided in Colorado and Indiana, but recently relocated to Cheltenham Township along with his wife to be closer to family. Please join me in welcoming Bill and wishing him luck in his academy training. And next up, Kira Swanson. Kira is also enrolled in the Montgomery County Police Academy class and is expected to graduate in June of 2025. Upon graduation, she will begin her field training with our department. Ms. Swanson is a graduate of Penn Ridge High School and was employed full-time as a 911 dispatcher for Bucks County Emergency Communications for the past 2 years. She is trained as a police, fire, and EMS dispatcher and is leaving her position with Bucks County Radio to pursue her dream of a career in law enforcement. Please join me in welcoming Kira Swanson to the Cheltenham Township Police Department and wish her luck in her training as well. We will be doing their swearing in June when they complete their academy training. We look forward to that. Keep up the good work on that.
Yeah, we're gonna do the pictures and then we'll do the retirees. All right, so we'll do the pictures. We're gonna take a short break, to take some photos. Thank you. All right, guys, we have some business to take care of that we have to continue. All right, we're gonna get back to the business of our township. And Chief, I believe you have one more item that you need to discuss.
Thank you, Commissioner. Item number 7. Commissioner, item number 7 is the presentation of certificates.
Mr. Brown,
honoring
could you close that
officers.
door back there for us, sir? Thank you. Come on, it's only 0 degrees outside.
Over downstairs. Yeah.
Thank you. Chief, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Item number 7, the presentation of certificates honoring the following officers from 2024 on their retirement from the Cheltenham Township Police Department. First up is Lieutenant Dan Farley. Dan served the police department from July 12th, 1996 to May 10th, 2024. Many of you know what Dan means to me. He was my right-hand man reorganizing the police department here, someone I highly respect and admire. My strongest compliment I could say is Dan's a solid guy, and that coming from me, that means a lot. And Dan, you're a solid guy. Congratulations. Officer Corporal Sergeant, Patrol Lieutenant, Administrative Service. Appreciate it.
We're going to also take pictures. Go ahead, Chief. You can continue.
Thank you, sir. Unfortunately, we have 3 other officers who are unable to attend this evening, but I wanted to acknowledge them for their careers and their service to Cheltenham Township, many over 25 years, some 28 years. Ron Cupo, detective, years of service from September 1st, 1999 to September the 3rd, 2024. Ron was a detective in our detective bureau, along with Detective Steve Motto. Steve Motto, they were hired the same day, retired the same day, kind of unique. Both experienced detectives that retired the same day. So I wish them well in their new endeavors. Lastly, Detective Denise Tecci will be retiring this Friday. Denise worked with our department from November 29, 1996 until this Friday, 1/24/25. Another experienced detective, and I wish her well in her endeavors as well. And I would like to thank the board for acknowledging their commitment to our community and their years of service here tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does any commissioners have anything to say in reference to these of items that we just did? Any comments? I want to say that as Chair of Public Safety, it was amazing tonight to see sort of the beginning and then the end. You know, we sort of saw it all. And I just want to say something to my friend who I said, Dan, my middle daughter just felt he was the best police officer in this township. Sorry, guys, but and if the new officers can just be 1/8 of what you were, Dan, then we're in good hands. So I want to personally thank you for what you've done for the township. So thank you very much. So we're going to move on now to item number 8. Item we have to vote on, approval of the Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes dated December 18th, 2024, and the reorganization meeting minutes dated January 6th, 2025. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Item 9, we're going to turn it over to Commissioner Zieggenfeld for what was done for Public Works on January 6th.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Public Works Committee did meet on January 6th. We have a number of items to recommend for approval. Item A is authorize the submission of green light GO grant applications for the following intersections. And we discussed those two intersections, New Second Street and Coventry Avenue, and Limekiln, Pike, and Waverly Road, both of which Mr. Stuckert is responsible for making sure that we get those green light GO submissions and receive that funding. So with that, I'll ask if there are any questions or comments. I see none, so I'll move for the authorization by the legislative body. All those in favor of both items?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The other thing is to review and accept the minutes from the Public Works Committee meeting of January 6th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moving on to item 10, going to turn it over now to Commissioner Norris.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, acting as Mr. President. The Building and Zoning Committee met on January 6th, 2025. Commissioner Arman is the chair of that meeting. In his absence, I'm the vice chair. There is one item that needs our attention tonight, and that is to authorize advertisement of a public hearing to consider public comment on an ordinance amending Chapter 295, Section 295-405, regarding personal care business, accessory roof-mounted solar systems, Sections 901, 1001, 1101, 1201, 1301, 1401, 1501, regarding permitted uses, Section 295-2301 regarding general parking regulations by land use, and Section 295-2601 regarding yard regulations and front yard projections. Unless anyone needs additional clarification, this issue was discussed completely at the Building and Zoning meeting. Any questions or comments from my fellow commissioners? Seeing none.
Commissioner Norris, I'll just note,
there you go.
at the last meeting, there was some discussion. Commissioner Rappaport had a suggested edit to the ordinance, and we did incorporate some revised language. So thank you for that comment, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Not seeing any other comments, I will move for to authorize the advertisement of a public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. No other items are before the Building and Zoning Committee that require our attention tonight, so I'll move acceptance of the regular meeting minutes dated January 6th, 2025. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner Norris. Item 11 is the consider approval or recommending of the Public Safety Committee meeting, which took place on January 15th. I want to take time to thank Commissioner Dwight Pedro Lewis for pinch hitting for me during that meeting. I understand that you hit it out of the park, but you were still called out at home. All right, so now we're going to go to item 11A, authorize of advertisement of the Board of Commissioners' intention to consider the adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 285, Vehicle and Traffic, Section 285-43, to add a handicap parking in front of 1705 Erlin Road in Elkins Park, PA. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 11B, authorized advertisement of the Board of Commissioners' intent to consider the adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 285, Vehicle and Traffic, Section 285-43, to add handicap parking in front of 1703 Chelsea Road in Elkins Park. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then we're going to go item 11C, authorize the amended addition of traffic calming measures to include 5 sets of speed cushions and the applicable pavement markings and signage on Willow Avenue between Old York Road and Penrose Avenue to the Township Traffic Calming Program. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So now we just call for the approval of the minutes, the meeting that took place for public safety on January 15th, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Commissioner Rappaport, I'm sorry, I was going too fast.
Yeah, just a clarification in the minutes. There was some discussion about the speed cushions, and what was omitted in the minutes that I thought needed clarification. We did discuss the price of, the approximate price of the speed cushions and the ambiguity about their authorization for the schools. And that wasn't really clear in the minutes. So I think that needs to be added. And as long as we have our Public Works department head here, the $3,000 was the price that we talked about. And just clarification, is that approximately true for one set of the speed cushions? And
So
I think
Commissioner
that-
Rappaport,
that
are
was
you
fine.
saying just for what we're going to do with the elementary schools and putting these speed
Yeah, the-
cushions?
Yeah, the point was in the minutes, it wasn't, those were the points I had raised. And that didn't get incorporated
Okay,
in the minutes.
well,
Thank
can you kind of give us an estimate of the cost?
Yes, it's an estimated cost between $3,000 and $4,000 per set of speed cushions, depending on the width of the road and
So when you say per set, how many in the set?
2 to 3, depending on the width of the road.
Okay,
This is with you doing the work
Yes,
in-house.
yep.
said 4?
$3,000 to $4,000, depending on whether we have to put in 2 speed cushions, 3 speed cushions, or potentially 4 speed cushions in one area.
Okay, Commissioner Rappaport, is that okay?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I think the minutes needed to be amended.
Need to reflect
include
those
that
minutes.
Because that was part of what I said.
Okay, all right, so
So we'll take that as a motion to approve the
Yes.
amended minutes and the board can revote
Thank you.
on the amended.
So we're going to approve with the amendment from Commissioner Rappaport.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, so now we're going to move forward to Public Affairs, which Commissioner Rappaport chairs. All yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So a couple of, several items for voting tonight. The committee discussed and decided to table consideration of an ordinance pursuant to Section 806 of the Cheltenham Township Home Rule Charter entitled Termination to abolish the elected office of finance officer and establish alternative means of collecting township taxes. And on behalf of the committee, I move tonight to continue to table.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Item 12B, authorize staff to issue a request for proposals to identify a qualified concessionaire to operate food and beverage concessions at the township pools. We discussed this and we wanted to move it forward. So on behalf of the committee, I so move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item C, the committee supported awarding a professional services contract to Bellweather Agency in the amount of $23,000 for the design of a brand identity, including logo, tagline, color palette, and typography. And I so move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
In addition, we move to support the appointment of the following members to the township's citizen committees. Alicia Kinchlow of Elkins Park to be a voting member of the Library Board. Linda Frymark of Elkins Park to be a voting member of the Environmental Advisory Council. Adam Drybelbis of Wyncote to be a voting member on the Planning Commission. Donna Andrews of Cheltenham to be a voting member on the Board of Historical and Architectural Review, and David Guess of Elkins Park to be a member of the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. And with thanks to their initiative to come forward and volunteer, and good luck to them, I so move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I also move acceptance of the meeting minutes for January 15th.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. So we're going to go on to item 13 for old business, and I believe we have a presentation that's going to be done by SEPTA. And I'm not sure who's on from SEPTA. Is it Bob? Bob Kent?
Yes,
Hey, Bob.
Commissioner.
Are you-
Hello, Commissioner Brockington. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Need to share the screen?
I do not now.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
First, Commissioner Brockington, all the commissioners, just want to wish everyone a happy new year. I know I wasn't on the earlier meeting this month, the Public Works meeting, so happy new year. And it's great to be with you on this cold January night. So thank you for having myself and our team here this evening.
Yes, thank you.
As a follow-up, I believe, from the Public Works meeting, pardon me, we began engagement of the businesses along near the Eastern Road Bridge that we plan to rehab. And on Monday, January 13th, John Kravchuk, who works for the contractor, the Walls Construction, John and I met at Glenside Station and proceeded to meet. I believe we met with about 15 to 20 businesses, mostly in the area of the Eastern Road Bridge. We did meet with several business owners in the area of the Keswick Avenue Bridge as well. But we tried to, focus mainly on the Eastern Road, since that would be the longer closure. In doing so, we went to each business. I think we were out there around 11:15 on Monday, January 13th. We visited various businesses in the area on either side of the bridge, as well as some up past Glenside Avenue on Easton Road. We visited the businesses. We dropped off a one-page document, a fact sheet, which you should have in your packets. We kind of just briefed whoever we spoke to, kind of briefed them on the project. We also left our business cards with the fact sheet that we dropped off. We answered any questions and things of that. For the most part, we got very minimal opposition or anything. Just some questions. Some people noted the older condition of the bridge and kind of the need for the infrastructure, but obviously with any construction, no one's ever happy, about a construction project, impacting, the roads or a given area. Pardon me. So, I know that's what the commissioners have wanted, and we're going to continue, that communication. We did not meet with, I believe, St. Paul's Church and the funeral home. We do need to reach out to both of them on the Mount Carmel side of the bridge, which we will be doing. And really, that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Ziegmanfeld.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kent, is there any chance, there's been some discussion subsequent to your meeting, that a prime time for business is really in the time frame in which you currently have it scheduled? I'm on one of the commissioners who's not here tonight, Commissioner Arman, who represents that area, thought that maybe a June through August date would be more accommodating, because many of the businesses have their prime selling season after the Christmas season in this early part of the year. So I'm wondering if there's some flexibility on your end to be able to possibly consider delaying for a couple months, knowing, of course, there's a number of entities involved.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Commissioner Ziegmanfeld. We have had some discussions with the county. The county, as we know, Montgomery County owns, it's a county owned, Eastern Road is a county road. We have had discussions with Montgomery County. They have a number of other projects going on that I believe start in the July timeframe, from July through August, including milling and paving of a section of Eastern Road. They also are doing the Waverly Road culvert. And there's also ADA ramps that they're putting in at various intersections on Easton Road as well. I believe the ADA ramps have to be done before the milling and paving. So I know they have their work there. Ideally, and after internal discussions, it's really going to be tough for us to push back our project due to service and operational constraints. The nature of the contract. And I mean, I can let our team also talk about that, but it would be very difficult for us to do that. I mean, I think the county, if we did it, we could, coordinate things with the county, but it's going to make things probably even, trickier getting around the township because the county would be doing their work. We'd have our work, an RD tour. I know PennDOT's doing their work on Church Road. So understandably, there could be even more, concern. I mean, our idea is to kind of, get in and get out to then not, so to kind of get in and get out, only you guys have to deal with the county projects and PennDOT's project. But as I said, other members of our team can maybe want to jump in and discuss other reasons for why we need to do it when we're scheduled to. Thank
From
you.
your point of view, just before we let that go a little more, is the pushback or the potential problem, is it a county issue, county resistance? Is it with a conflict of other PennDOT projects, or is it, the scheduling with SEPTA and your contractors and their availability at that point?
I mean, I'll defer to Kyle Stanley, who's on. He could probably more address that better.
Yeah, hi, Kyle Stanley, Senior Program Manager for SEPTA and B&B Engineering. Yeah, so this project, sorry, this project is a design build project. It's been coordinated closely with our SEPTA operations as well, and being the bridge is located on our main line, it's taken an enormous effort to kind of move things around on the top side. So the design build nature of the project, the contractor being closely related to the design, they've got to coordinate both of those, the operational constraints, obviously, with the work that needs to be done below the bridge that impacts the roadway. So moving that would incur considerable cost to SEPTA as well, and obviously we have financial constraints as well. Everybody knows that, so we're not. It's very impactful to us over here on the financial side. So.
Well, frankly, from the feedback
Sure.
that the commissioner, particularly Commissioner of the ward, received, it has the potential to be costly to a number of the businesses in the area as well. So understand on the SEPTA side, but we also have to have some sensitivity to the impact that it has on the local businesses. I wanted to share the concerns that Commissioner Arman had expressed to me, and I'm not sure how far they've gone, but I think we should at least have an opportunity to explore and see what options might be available. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Ziegman-Feld. Commissioner Cherico.
Thank you so much. Bob or Kyle, can you tell me how long this project has been in the works, in the planning stages?
Yeah, Commissioner Charco, I know we presented a 30% design to both Cheltenham Township separately, and then Abington Township. I believe that was in late 22. That's when we were at 30% design on the project, and then we've had subsequent meetings with the commission, with you guys in I guess a public works setting to update you on the various stages.
And how long ago did you choose the date of, say, March and April?
That was worked out during the 30% design phase, based on the operational impacts. We needed to work since both bridges were going at the same time, Keswick and the Easton one. And like I said, it impacts our mainline operations. We needed to have a long weekend, Memorial Day weekend, for the Keswick, and this other bridge being so close to that Keswick Avenue bridge. That's when the operations side wanted to tie in both of those impacts to basically the train riders, so that we would have minimal impacts.
So it shocks me in those 2+ years that you couldn't find a couple hours in a morning to walk up and down Easton Avenue to try to talk to businesses about when it might be convenient to them. You talk about operational costs. There's operational costs for all of our businesses that line Easton Road. And I would expect if you're going to be planning such a disruptive project that Bob, Kyle, someone could spend a couple hours on a morning to do that. You only came on the 13th of January to have those discussions with businesses after I spoke with businesses a month earlier and found out that no one had come and speak to them. So I'm a little disappointed. I'm very disappointed that you would spend 2+ years planning this and not so much as have any sort of thought or conversation with local businesses who are the lifeblood of our community. And frankly, this township relies on their tax dollars to continue to operate. I'm just shocked that there wouldn't have been a better open line of communication with businesses to see when it might be the best time to operate. So my question or my push is for this board at least to recommend to SEPTA to go back to and figure out a way to push this to the summer so that our businesses aren't negatively impacted.
Thank you, Commissioner Cherico. I have a quick question to Bob. Bob, you mentioned get in, get out. Just for the record, for those in attendance and Zoom, what dates are, can you go over those dates again that you think you can go in, get in?
Well, yes, Commissioner Brockington, the contractor would be scheduled to start Easton Road the middle of March, around March 17th, and then be done by the end of April. The plan was to be finished before the Cheltenham Arts Festival. Meanwhile, the Keswick Avenue Bridge is locked into the week before Memorial Day and the week after, which includes a 78-hour outage on Memorial Day weekend, where there'll be no trains on Memorial Day weekend while we replace the superstructure on the Keswick Avenue Bridge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to sort of go out of protocol and open this up for public discussion at this point on this particular issue only. So if anyone here inside of Curtis wants to come to the podium, identify yourself and the part of the township you live or your business is in.
My name's Tim Way. I own the Ways Restaurant and Brewery, right on Easton Road. This button? What? Hello? Okay. Oh, Tim Way. I own the Ways Restaurant and Brewery at 11 South Easton Road, right where the road is going to be closed. As far as the numbers are concerned, I looked at our numbers from last year, what we did in the spring and what we did in the summer, and our gross revenue was $45,000 more during the time that they're projecting or they want to do the project. So if we could just shift it into the summertime, it would be less of an effect on our bottom line. Sorry, I did have some notes here. I have spoken to many of the businesses around that are going to be negatively affected. And they've put together a letter that they're planning on sending to anybody who will listen. I appreciate you guys, the commissioners, talking to Bob about it. Bob did tell me that they did contact the county. It didn't sound like, I'm not sure if they actually did or not. So maybe Bob can comment on if the county was contacted about moving the date.
So Bob,
Yeah, Tim, we had discussions with the county on Tuesday. We had discussions with the county. There's no formal minutes from those types of. It was basically a feasibility discussion to discuss what projects they had, to discuss our project, to discuss what type of coordination would be involved, the detours would be involved, and things of that nature. So I know you emailed me back asking me about meeting minutes and things of that nature. There's really no meeting minutes. It was not a formalized meeting. Okay, we did meet with representatives of Montgomery County, their roads and bridges and infrastructure department, and we did speak with them.
Okay.
The county did not say that yes or no. They said if we could do it, we would just have to coordinate. We have to coordinate the work with them because any work has to be coordinated so that people aren't like stepping on each other and creating more confusion.
Okay, with these types of projects, is there some sort of like traffic study that needs to be done to determine maybe when the best time to do the project would be?
I think traffic studies are mainly having to do with detours, but someone on my team can probably comment on that.
Yeah, I don't know if they're for detours. I don't think a traffic study is done unless it's normally it's just detoured around a route and then it's approved by, whoever owns the road.
I just think that if there was some sort of traffic study, we would know that there's less traffic in the summertime because that's what happens in this neighborhood of
I think
Glenside.
I think it's a traffic count, and that's might be done on roads they're projected to use as a detour. So it's not necessarily traffic counts as far as what's a good time to do construction. I mean, I don't know if there's an ideal time to do construction. I understand, and I definitely understand where you're coming from, Tim. But yeah, I don't know if they ever do that type of count. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you.
This is John Krafchuk with Walsh. Yeah, I mean, typically like the traffic counts or monitoring like that is for the detour. I mean, I believe we, looked into that a little bit, but the it showed, I think, that traffic is about equal as far as number of cars traveling the roads in the summer as it is in the spring. So it doesn't take into effect though, how many people are visiting the local businesses and things like that.
Okay, I don't know what else to say. Hopefully we can do something to push it back, but okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is your petition ready to be submitted both to the board and also to the folks from SEPTA?
Well, I have,
You have a
I
letter.
don't have it with me. It just got written today because we all just found out about this project last week. So,
Can you get that to the township?
okay, who should we
Okay.
send it to?
You'll send it to the township manager right here.
You can send it
Allison.
to manager@cheltenhampa.gov.
Manager it. Okay. All right, thank you.
We
Thank
hear
you.
you, Tim.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Joe Stucker, can you add anything to this? I knew you were back there sleeping, so I figured I would wake you up.
Welcome. Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
So I've had numerous conversations with the contractors, with the project managers for the project. All the emails that have been sent from the board, all the feedback from the board. After each meeting, I've gone back, I've sent them emails, I've contacted them by phone, every concern that's been had. This started out originally, the original meetings, I remember I was in those, and the original concern from the board was the murals under the bridges, right? So that's what they reached out for. They worked on trying to find out who the artists were and all that. And then subsequent meetings, there was issues with the timeframe they had spoken about, which was almost double, more than double the amount of time that they've gotten it down to now. So I worked all of Public Works, all the staff worked closely with them on all those items. And again, it came back, the big questions were on, making sure the mural was saved. Is the lighting going to change? And will sidewalks be open for pedestrians? So they had mentioned that they had met, spoken to businesses previously. At that time, they didn't have an exact time frame as to when the project was actually the exact dates, but it was coming up. I know that it got pushed back a little bit because of some other issues that occurred, on other SEPTA projects where there were emergencies and things like that from them. But so all the concerns that have come up from the meetings and the subsequent emails, I've spoken with Dominic from Jacobs numerous times, probably 3 times a week for the past several months, with every question that has been brought up. So they've addressed, as you saw in my letter earlier this month, they've addressed pretty much all of those. And then I think the big question is, the notification of the businesses. And I think the only thing we have to keep in mind is from both sides is they're not closing the businesses. There will be obviously, vehicle traffic that gets diverted different ways, but they're working. They've agreed to put additional signage up. That was one of the questions that came up about putting additional signage up at the area of the detour, making sure that everybody that approaches those areas, the signs will state that those businesses are still open, there's still access to the businesses. That was with the detour change. That was one of the things we brought up to make sure that, you know, people that are driving are aware that these businesses are open. You know, again, I don't do the studies, and you know, just from a construction standpoint, that was asked for of them, and they've agreed to that. So they have agreed to do everything. And I agree, you know, I don't know, you know, what, you know, if there's anything else, you know, you want me to do about, you know, to advocate, but I have been trying to work closely with them and get them to, you know, make whatever adjustments we can on the commissioner's behalf and the township's behalf.
Thank you. I do have a question for SEPTA. And then for the owner of the ways, do people who go to the ways, does they sometimes park in the SEPTA lot, or do they park in your lot? Anywhere. So the sidewalks are going to be open, right, Joe? So maybe it would be fair for SEPTA to allow for free parking if someone wants to go to the ways to park in the SEPTA lot, and then they can walk to.
Sorry, I think that most of the SEPTA doesn't charge after a certain time, which is when most of our customers are at the
So
restaurant.
they could park over there and still walk to your
Yeah,
establishment.
I'm worried about people, well, you know, people driving past and seeing that we're there. And that's a lot of our business, just people finding us that way. So,
But according to Mr. Stucker, they're going to put signs up saying the businesses are open.
right, but you know, it's different when they can drive past and see like, oh, there's that business, it's open.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? It creates another level to block them from coming to us and going somewhere else.
Gotcha.
So,
All right, thank you.
And do we have a sense of whether, maybe this is for SEPTA, do we have a sense of whether there will be access from the Mount Carmel side to the Ways driveway? I think that might be the only parking lot on that block that would be affected. So I'm just curious if there will be, from at least the Mount Carmel side, access to the restaurant parking lot.
Yes, access will be maintained.
From the Mount Carmel side? Not
Yes.
from not from the Glenside Ave side, correct?
From the Glenside Ave, it would be a side, you know, obviously sidewalk access. They'd be able to get there via sidewalk, but as far as, you know, vehicles, the barricades will be such where they can, it's going to say low, and John Kravchuk can also comment, I believe there'll be, you know, it'll be a sign that says local traffic only, businesses open, and they'll be able to, you know, easily go like past the barrier and then into the Ways parking lot.
I remain that I think there is planning that can still happen. Maybe we need to ask the county to delay the milling project or something, but you know, this has a big impact on local businesses. March and April are busy times for businesses, and June and July, we all know, are a lot slower. So I would encourage continued conversations with the county to see if there could be a delay on that project so they don't conflict.
And I have one quick question for SEPTA. With that time of the year, also, their school buses. Have you been in contact with any of the schools who will be using those streets, their buses during that time?
Commissioner, we have not reached out to the school district yet, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
That would be part of our, you know, outreach.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, for coming on tonight. Thank you for being here also. So we're going to move on for old business. I have one item for old business. I want to thank Bill Salvatore and his team from Parks and Recs. They did an amazing job. They had the bingo night last Friday. The house was full. I think it was standing room only by the time I left. But when I left, a lot of people left too because they came to see me read the numbers. but that's okay. Um, But I really want to thank you, Bill, your team. You guys done a really good job. And you're putting together some great things for the township. And I believe this Friday at Glenside Hall, it is a game night, family game night. What time? 7 p.m., Glenside Hall, family game night. Come out and play games with your family. Oh, go ahead. All right. Any other items for old business for tonight? Commissioner Rappaport?
How can we fail to mention the snow removal? Thank you very much to our Public Works folks for all that effort.
Yes, thank you, guys. No comment? No.
Thank you.
They're too tired.
Too tired. All right, great. So we're going to move on now to, we have two things to vote on for new business. Item 14A, approval of the 2025 Citizens Committee reappointment list. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Item 14B, I'm sorry, Commissioner Rappaport.
I just want to mention that there are still some vacancies, and all interested concerned citizens are invited to take a look and see what interests you. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. Well stated. So we're going to move on to item 14B. Consider approval of a settlement stipulation between Cheltenham Township, Cheltenham School District, Montgomery County, and the Montgomery County Board of Assessment Appeals, and the property owner of 1119 Ashbourne Road to resolve a 2025 real estate tax assessment appeal initiated by the property owner, tax parcel 310001012001, and that information is attached. Are there any questions from any commissioners in reference to this? Not seeing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to citizen forum. And I'm going to go right to Zoom to see if there's anyone wants to jump in for citizen forum for tonight. Brad P.
My name is Brad Fransky, formerly known as Elkins Park. My concern is about the contract with Bellweather. I can't understand why at this point in time, the township is going to spend $23,000 on a branding campaign. Right now, the brand of Cheltenham Township is the highest taxes around. What we need to do is spend that money on a study of how to level the taxes and how to bring in more businesses. I mean, the branding, some of us, I know on the board also, are familiar with branding is all about, but I cannot see why we would spend that amount of money now on a campaign to brand the township. What are you going to brand it? Hi, welcome to Cheltenham. We pay more taxes here than anywhere else. It holds your real estate taxes down because it holds your property value down. I don't understand. I won't ask for any responses. I know it's just citizens forum, so consider me having floor.
Thank you, sir. Any other citizen forum? I don't see any hands. I'm not. So I'm calling for the adjournment of tonight's meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night. Good night, everyone.